Hi, folks. Sorry to disrupt your Christmas festivities, but it's been a long while, or it seems so, since I did a Finds video. Now, you know that I like my Prog Psych, and particularly from Scandinavia and Finland. So, what I'm going to try and show here is a lot of the Nordic Prog Psych albums I've picked up over the course of the year, virtually, yeah. Some of these go back months, others are brand new. Going to go through them country by country. There's a lot to show, and with the needle drops, this could prove to be a long one. Apologies. So I'll try not to say too much about them and let the music speak for itself. So we'll start off in Denmark with two releases from the El Paraiso label. That's a label that I avidly collect and just get about everything that they release. It's the label that was set up and is run by the members of Causa Sui, if that's how you pronounce it, for them to release the band's albums, their solo and collaborative projects and other like-minded bands. And I'm going to show the latest two releases. The first is by Causa Sui themselves. This is Lopen 2021 Christiana, September the 11th. So obviously a live album, live double. Oh, I was going to open it up as a gatefold. It's not. Apologies. The Causa Sui were founded in Odense in 2004. They're a sort of instrumental psych prog, sometimes called stoner rock. This is a brilliant set of instrumental prog psych, as I said. Not just rehashes of their studio stuff, but there's an added power to them live, which they don't play enough live really, but this is excellent release. And also on El Paraiso is this album by Edena Gardens. Now, they were formed in 2022 in Copenhagen, and they're a trio. The trio is made up of Jacob Scott, who's the drummer with Causa Sui, Nicholas Sorensen, who is the guitarist with Papier and Oresund Space Collective, and joined by Martin Ruud, the bassist, who was with the London Odense ensemble that released records on El Paraiso too. This is similar in the same sort of vein, long instrumental improvisations, probably a bit darker and more drony than Causa Sui themselves. This is, I think, this is the third of a trilogy of albums they've done, plus they've done a live album as well. Excellent. And now we move on to onto Finland, and we have two releases from what are probably the premier Finnish prog band of their generation, along with probably Wigwam, and that is Tasavallan Presidenti, formed in 1969. This is a series of archival albums that have been put out by Svart Records in Finland. This is, I think, two I'm going to show, the third and fourth in this series of archival albums. There's another one coming, I think, early in the new year. This is State Visit, live in Sweden in 1973. Tasavallan Presidenti played absolutely brilliant jazz fusion-y sort of prog with the great Jukka Tolonen on guitar. But they're at their best live, I think. And the other fourth in this series is the lost 1971 studio session. Similar stuff again. Absolutely brilliant 70s prog fusion. Looking forward to getting the new one when it comes out. Moving on quickly, we move to Norway. Hotbed of great music, and we have one of the best bands of recent times in the prog vein, and that's Jordsjö. I can never pronounce that properly, apologies. This is their latest album from this year. They were founded in Oslo in 2014. And this is comparable with what they've been doing. This is their third album, I think, third studio album. And this is prog, 70s style prog with a strong folk bass to it. First for about 3 years, I think, 2 or 3 years since the last one, Pastoralia. But this keeps up their great vein of great run of brilliant albums. Well worth having. We then move on to Ringvang Mobius, formed around 2014. Again, in that 70s style prog. Now, this album was, if I'll read out from the notes because it gets quite confusing. In the spring of 2021, Ringvang Mobius were approached by the choreographer Harold Bahane to write the music for his next solo performance. But this album, however, is not the actual soundtrack to the finalized commissioned work itself, rather a reflection of the early versions by the band, spontaneous reactions, and a starting point for further collaboration. So it's a conceptual work. It's very good, but I wouldn't rate it as highly as the albums that came before it. There are, I think, 12 tracks or chapters as they're called here, and in each one of those is broken down further. So it tends to be a bit fractured. I could have done with some of the pieces being longer. The playing's superb, and it's a good album, but I look forward to them getting back to doing a normal album, if you like. We now move on to a band by the title of The Chronicles of Father Robin. And we have 2 albums. Book 1, The Tale of Father Robin, Spirit of Nature. And just recently come out, Book 2, Ocean Traveller Metamorphosis. This is a concept album by a band comprising of members of Wobbler, Tusmorka, Yorjo, and others. Brilliant 70s style prog. This was originally released early in the year as a 3 LP box set. Charisma have released them separately now. The third one isn't out yet. I think that's coming out early in the new year. But this is, like I say, cracking symphonic prog at its best. Love these 2 albums.
Captured by its
probably one of my favourite albums of the year, to be honest. I thought this is absolutely brilliant. And this is the solo album by Lars Fredrik Frøsli. He's the keyboard player with Wobbler, and he's played with other Norwegian prog bands such as White Willow and Tusmorke. And this, he also plays the drums, by the way, as well. This is his album Fire Fortelinga. It's his first solo album, and this is keyboard-driven prog at its best. With there's a couple of epic tracks over 16 minutes and two shorter 6-7 minute tracks. Absolutely brilliant. As I said, one of my albums of the year. Some people have disparaged his vocals a little bit. I don't know why. I think they're fine for this. Well worth having. And invest in that one if you like 70s style prog. We now have a archival release by the fusion band Moose Loose from 1973. This is live at Kongsberg Jazz Festival 1973. They're an Oslo-based band, or were. Were inspired heavily by Miles Davis's Electric Period from Bitches Brew onwards, but also bits of rock, Jimi Hendrix style rock as well. Excellent band. This is, if you like jazz rock, jazz fusion of that 70s style, highly recommend. This is a three-sided double album. And staying in Norway, we have another one of the probably more popular current bands, and that's Tusmorke with their 10th album, I want to say, something like that. They've been around a long time, since 1994. This is another strong entry in their discography. This is good fun, distinctive. This is a fusion of prog and Nordic folk. That's quite a few of their albums are really well put together. Highly recommended.
Som lever dit hans høyhet står. Langs et dyretråkk, forbi en flokk av får. Fram til jeg til Guden går. Fram til jeg til Guden går. Fram til jeg til Guden går. Fram til jeg til Guden går.
The final one from Norway is a band that was new to me, and I think it's a pretty new band anyway. I think this is their first album, and this is Träd, and the album's called Turist I eget liv, and this is a collaboration between, again, several members of existing bands such as Tusmorka and Yorjo, with guest contributions from loads of other prog bands. This has a sort of a Canterbury-ish RIO flavour to it, like Salamanders Manor, and with a bit of Hatfield in the north. Well, worth investigating if you're into sort of Canterbury fusion style prog. Glad to have discovered them. And now we get to Sweden, and we start off with an older album, and this is Kama Loka, and this was a fusion of Danish and Swedish, so I could have gone in either musicians, with an album of what is probably progressive folk rock, a lot of Scandinavian prog incorporates folk elements to a greater or lesser degree, and this is like the band Kebnekaise, where the folk element is quite strong. This is sort of complex songwriting with great organ and fuzz guitar. If you've heard bands like Kebnekaise, where the Swedish folk element is very strong, you will really like these. This was, I think, released around 2013 originally.
For at holde øjet tør.
We move on to a band I've liked for a long time, and a modern band. That's Goat, totally different from what everything else that's come before on here. They were a sort of experimental folks, folk, tribalistic, paganistic fusion of prog and folk, and heavily psychedelic. This is, I think, their seventh studio album. They've done a couple of live albums. Absolutely brilliant in this one. This sounds a little bit different from the ones they've done in the past. The folk element seems to be more of a factor. They play in masks, and nobody knows, or supposedly nobody knows, their real identities. Now, I did hear years ago, and I don't know if this is true, that they were actually the great Swedish side prog band Hills in disguise. And maybe that's correct, because track 2 has the title Raised by Hills. So you never know. Maybe they are. Who knows? Who cares? Brilliant stuff. To a brand new band, and that's the band Homegrown. I think I discovered can't remember, was it on Bandcamp? Or did somebody put something on Facebook? I can't remember. But they're very much a psychedelic jam rock band, extending out their songs. This is a weird album in that the first side is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tracks recorded in studio in 2022. The second side is the same tracks, but recorded live in 2022. So you get to hear those songs as they were performed in the studio, and then as they were performed live. Highly recommended if you like psychedelic jam band material. Check them out. The title of the album is Berget Greta, whatever that means. For the next one, we go back to 1972. And that's the famous in Sweden, band Fläsket brinner. They were a Swedish band during the 70s, released a couple of albums, comprised mainly of sort of heavy rock, psychedelic jazz rock, with again, as with all of these, a mixture of some folk elements. They were they were often associated with the Swedish keyboard player Bo Hansson, and on this release, which is a live release from Pistolteatern in 1972, Bo Hansson plays Hammond organ with him. He wrote 3 of the 5 tracks, a couple of which I think are reworkings of material from his Lord of the Rings album. This is like the excellent 70s style jazz rock jamming. We now have another band that was totally new to me until I discovered them this year. This album, though, was released in 2009. And the band is Makajodama, or Makajodama. I'm not sure if it's silent. How do you pronounce that? As with most of these things. These are Swedish prog, associated with Gustav Berling's Saga, who I think I've showed an album by before. This is heavily guitar focused prog, which goes from quite folky tracks to lengthy symphonic pieces. Fairly dark, improvisational, and probably goes towards that sort of chamber rock vibe in places. So if you like something a bit darker, these are the ones for you. And now we have probably the band that's been my favourite of the newer prog bands from Scandinavia, and that's the wonderful Aussa with their latest album, their fifth studio album, but I think it's fifth studio album. They've also done 3 brilliant live albums, full of, as usual, lush Hammond organ, jazzy guitars, flute, absolutely brilliant. Well worth going. This is the album title is Prima Materia. They can do no wrong for me. Sticking with Sweden, but I'd like to finish off with a book and some related releases. And this brand new book, Träd, Gräs och Stenar, A Collective History. This is a superb new tome, 400 pages long, about the famous Swedish band Träd, Gräs och Stenar, Trees, Grass and Stone, I think it's who were formed back in about 1966, 67. Beautiful book that's just come out about the band, full of lots of detail. So I thought, as I'm showing you that, I would take out 3 box sets that are related, that I've had for a number of years now. Now, Träd, Gräs och Stenar started out life as the band Parson Sound, formed in Stockholm in 1967. Only lasted about a year. Never produced anything, I don't think, in their during that brief lifetime. But back in, when was it? In 2010, Subliminal Sounds produced this box set of live and radio sessions by the band, a 3 LP set. Of, like I say, material recorded live and radio sessions. The sound of the band is sort of psychedelic rock with a heavy drone element, minimalistic. Reminds me of at times of Velvet Underground at the time of Sister Ray, early experimental Pink Floyd. Like I said, there's a strong minimalist element because when Terry Riley toured in Sweden, members of the band played with him. That sound carries on through the history of of Träd, Gräs och Stenar, but this is where it started. They disbanded in 1968, but reformed, excuse me, in that same year, really, from the ashes of that came the band International Harvester, who were around till 72. This is the second incarnation of the band. Again, like I say, heavily influenced by minimalist composers, psychedelic rock, folk elements, jazzy improvisations, etc. They only, in their lifetime, did 2 albums. The first, under the title International Harvester, was Sovgot Rosemarie. And that was in 68, I think, and the following year, I think, in 69, they dropped the international part of the name, just became Harvester, and produced this album, Hemet. Wonderful stuff. Now, this box set was produced, sorry, I'm all over the place here, was produced by Silence in 2018. And so, as well as containing the band's 2 studio albums, there were also 3 live albums. Remains 1, Remains 2, and Remains 3. Wonderful stuff. You also get a poster of the band. I don't know if any of these box sets are still available and how much they cost, but I would highly recommend them. After the Harvester period, that was when the band took up the name Träd, Gräs och Stenar. And this box set was produced in 2016 by Kamado Records, Anthology Recordings, and this contains 3 live albums that they recorded during their early period. We get his first album, Jungelns Lag. Again, apologies for the pronunciation. Again, great experimental, improvisational psych prog. The second live album, which is Moors. And it's finally in this package. These are all double albums, by the way, so there's 6 LPs here. We get Corn Till Samans. I love these inner pictures of the band. We also get an early gig poster. So the band also produced 2 studio albums, but good luck finding them, and if you find them, good luck affording them. And they did another couple of live albums that were released later in the life of the band. They came back in the 2000s and did about 4 albums, one of which I've got. I should have pulled that out as well. And the last album, which was released in 2018, they'd changed the name again just out to Träd. But all of these releases are highly recommended if drony, lengthy, psychedelic jams a la Sister Ray, a la Floyd at their most experimental, a la Dark Star, Dead. If you like any of that, they were often called the Swedish Grateful Dead. Try and get these. You owe it to yourself. Right, sorry I've rushed through that. Well, I say rushed. It's 33 minutes. God, it's going to be 50 minutes with the, probably with the needle drops. Anyway, you can listen to it in 2 parts. Don't have to listen to it all together. Anyway, as it's Christmas, I'd like to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas. I'd like to thank everybody who supported my channel over this last year. You've all been brilliant. Thank you very, very much. Thank you particularly to all those people who took time out to comment on my videos and give me all those nice comments. Like I say, I hope you have a great Christmas, and I wish you all the very, very best for the coming new year. Take care, everybody, and I'll hopefully see you soon. Bye.